Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. The Fantastic Four, First Steps, 2025, Matt Shakman. Taking place sometime before the events of Thunderbolts and on Earth 828, this particular world is not protected by Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers. No. Earth 828 is guarded by Reed Richards, Susan Storm Richards, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, otherwise known as the Fantastic Four. Pop culture icons, political figures, and everyone's favorite superheroes, the Fantastic Four are called to action when a being known as a Herald comes to Earth and warns that the planet-devouring Galactus is coming to eat their world up. With a world-shattering monster on the horizon, as well as Susan's pregnancy coming to term, the Fantastic Four must find a way to stop Galactus before Earth becomes his next meal. Marvel has slowly been gaining some ground back, and this new Fantastic Four film is a great first step. I'm fucking sorry. And them bringing back that former glory. Yeah. This was a fun little cape shit film, I gotta say. What I want to note about the filmmaking off the bat is I love the aesthetic the film is going for here. Reveling in that retro-futuristic vibe more fully than a show like Loki did, the Fantastic Four's production design is full-on 60s chic. The homes, the TV sets, the costumes, all envelop you in a different Marvel universe, one that is a little bit more colorful and stylish than the previous films. Visually, the film wasn't doing anything too spectacular, at least in terms of cinematography and editing, but it did play into the 60s style a bit here and there. The origin story section was meant to look like it was shot on old 8 or 16mm film, while the TV programs people are watching look like they would back in the olden times. That was a nice touch. The costume design for this film was on point. The Fantastic Four's blue sweaters and sweatpants looked like they were ripped right from those Silver Age comic books. Silver Surfer, despite being a CGI creation mostly, definitely looked less dodgy than in the 2007 Fantastic Four film bearing that character's name. Also, Galactus looked like fucking Galactus for once. The purple costume was intact, and they made him look like a giant fucking Ralph Ineson, which was a nice touch. The only element of the production design that didn't sit right with me were the special effects. Like many of these cape films, the special effects aren't really worth writing home about, but here I found them to be particularly inconsistent. Oscillating from fine enough to pure fucking uncanny valley from like shot to shot. There were times where I was ripped right out of the movie for a second by some shitty green screen or wonky computer effect. I don't know why, but that fucking baby looked fake as shit throughout the film, and I can't tell if it's just me or if they CGI'd in a baby. Thankfully, compensating factors balance out some shit CGI. I mentioned I dug the style of the film from a production design standpoint, but the music in this film was not too shabby either. Some of my favorite moments from the score come in the form of a piece or two that remind me of the theme songs of some old 60s sitcoms. But aside from that, while it is your usual sort of bombastic orchestral arrangement, this score felt like it had some real energy to it compared to the other recent Marvel films. It fit that fun adventure sort of tone that the film was going for excellently. The writing isn't really amazing or anything structurally or mechanically. It plays out like most Marvel movies do. And compared to a film like Superman 2025, it wasn't handling any bigger ideas. But what I appreciate about this film is them really capturing what make the Fantastic Four special. In this film, underneath all the superpowers and the grandiose ridiculousness, the Fantastic Four are your average family. A wife, a husband, the in-laws, a baby, the works, and this family is navigating a crisis. They bicker, they fight, sometimes those fights are big, but at the end of it, they always end up loving each other and having each other's backs and seeing any crisis through together. Bringing this dynamic to life is a fantastic cast.
Brother, this guy stinks!
I'm sorry. Anyways, I like the actors who played the Fantastic Four. The team of Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Bachrach, I think that's how you say his name, and Joseph Quinn captured the essence of their respective characters really well. While Pedro wasn't my first pick for Mr. Fantastic, he purported himself amicably and was charming regardless. Moss-Bachrach was inspired casting for the thing. If you've seen The Bear, you get why, he'd make a great Ben Grimm. And he really nailed that role. And he and Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch had such a fun chemistry when they shared the screen. Vanessa Kirby was also great as the Invisible Woman, and she nailed some of the meatier scenes in this film very well. To counter them, first is Julia Garner as the Herald, aka the Silver Surfer. Now, I don't want to get into fucking culture war garbage, so I don't care that they went with the girl version of the Silver Surfer. I don't read many comics. Maybe that version of the Surfer is cooler than one might think. I don't know. Either way, Garner was quite good. She had a surprising amount of presence and power in her voice, and she really nailed that character's stoicism and torment. She had some pretty damn meaty scenes in this film. But what I am here for is my man, Ralph motherfucking Ineson, as Galactus. Talk about some inspired casting. One of my guys was allowed to secure the bag. And not only that, he fucking nailed it as Galactus. Sure, his voice was caked in computer effects, but there's no mistaking that man's voice. And even without the layers of voice effects slathered on his performance, he brought so much menace and power to this character. We'll see what Marvel has in store for us later on this year in terms of movies, if there are any Marvel films coming out this year after this. But this might be the best Marvel film of the year. The retro future style, the reverence it has for these legendary characters, and the damn good cast make up for dodgy computer effects and a script that doesn't exactly go beyond being good for a Marvel movie. I would say check this film out in the theaters at some point, especially if you are a Marvel fanatic. And I'm feeling a 7 out of 10 on this one. Maybe a little generous, but, it's nice that they got the Fantastic Four right. Catch you later, guys!